everybody, man? Hopefully everybody's feeling loved and blessed as always, bruh. Hopefully everybody's having a good 2025 so far. January is already over. We only have 11 months left. It is February 1st. I hope everyone's excited about that just as much as I am. Just because God is going to be doing so much in our lives that there's going to be a lot of blessings, right? There's going to be a lot of success, but there's also going to be a lot of failure. And failure is something that I want to focus on today because today we're going to be talking about how I overcame failure because God's love never gave up on me, right? Because what we decide to think about ourselves in a negative way, especially, is separating us from God. We were never supposed to be separated from God. We were only supposed to be with God, right? But when sin entered the world, things became different. That light and darkness were obviously different, right? That oil does not mix with water, right? That the things that aren't supposed to be within your spirit is now within your flesh. It's the things that you have to battle, the spiritual warfare, right? So we can look at failure. We have to look at it differently now. We have to look at failure as an opportunity. We have to look at failure as things that's like it's not as what I feel, but it's what I am realizing, what my perspective can be now. Like failure is just the same thing as sin. It's just missing the mark. It's coming short of your goals, right? That's all failure is. Failure can be a bunch of different things though, and it can become very detrimental to your future if you allow failure to control you. If you allow failure to control your emotions, your mindset, how you react in your relationships and anything like that, right? So we have to understand and accept that it's a part of everything that we do. It's a part of a process in everything that we do. When you was a kid, you probably failed so many times, riding bikes, brushing your teeth, tying your shoes, doing your hair, looking after yourself, doing things like that. But then they become what? Second nature. It's never anything that is always permanent, right? Some things you're supposed to fail at because it's going to turn into something else. Or sometimes you're supposed to fail at it because maybe it's not for you particularly. And that's okay. It's not everything is gonna be for us. We have to sacrifice in this world. We have to decide what we are and what we're not gonna do. Who we are and who we're not gonna become. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to not just simply put ourselves in a box. Because in Proverbs chapter 24, verses 16, it says, "For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble and calamity strikes." All that's saying to me is the way that you look at things is how you're going to end up recovering from it. Whenever you have a setback or you're going to fall again when calamity strikes and you simply just give up after the first time, or you're going to fall 7 times and then get up 8 and then figure out on the 8th try that is actually going to work. You just had to do it differently. That sometimes a different approach, right? Not even a whole different situation or different scenario. It could be the same scenario, different approach, or the same scenario, maybe a different out or a different component to it to add something, a whole nother specialty to it, and then the situation becomes something in your favor. It becomes more something into your outcome, into your efforts, into the goal that you wanted, right? So we have to face it truly that trying to not fail is honestly a failure in its own, because failing opportunities, right, those things have brought some of the most successful people into the light. That Thomas Edison, I don't know how many times he failed the light bulb. Was it like over 1,000 or however many times it was? On that next try, he did it, right? And that could have took years, months, whatever, however long it takes for you, especially because when you really want something, you're not even thinking about the time for one. So if you're thinking about the times and things like that, or you think about the failures more in life as you get older, because maybe that the job is putting more stress on you, or maybe things that are happening in life that's putting more stress on you, a family or relationship, whatever the case may be, money, finance, well, that should never put a stress on you. If it's finances, I get that, but we gotta make better decisions, right? But along with that, failure, right? You have to know that the people that were successful, that were brought into the light, that they tried it another time. They did it again and again and again and again. And when you lose track of time, because now you don't spend so much time into it, you're starting to learn things that you didn't know before. You're starting to realize things that you didn't know before. You start to become more wise and more knowledgeable and more strong, more courageous, right? In Romans chapter 3 and verse 23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Nobody's special. I've fallen short, you've fallen short, we've all fallen short. It says everyone, all have fallen short, sinned and fallen, failed and fallen, tripped and fallen. You know what I'm saying? It's however you want to put it. You have to change your perspective because sin was already here before you were here. So it's nothing that you can control, but God knew that and he made a way, right? Jesus Christ, he made a way that in order to get to heaven, the new commandments, right? Not the old commandments, but the New Testament, not the old way, right? Not saying that the old way is put away, but we still use those laws. We still use the law of Moses, right? And many things, the commandments never went away. But now we had to have a new path, a new journey, right? Because when we failed, when Adam and Eve failed, they probably thought so many negative things about themselves when God never wanted us to be away from him, but with him the whole time, right? I had to, even myself, reinvent my mind to not come to problems with excuses, but problems with solutions, right? And and to almost have to not place myself in a single mistake in my life. That's what you shouldn't do. Overcome failure in 2025. Because one mistake is not defining who you are. Now, the consequences, okay? That's what can break the person. It's not the failure in its own, but it's the consequences. It's the feelings, it's the thoughts, it's the anxiety and depression of I still did not do it right. But who said you had to do it all right? Who said you had the answer and to do all these things and have the answers for everything? God didn't. You know what I'm saying? I hope nobody really told you that you needed to do that, because whoever told you that is a liar. Whoever told you that don't got it figured out themselves. So I've never met a person that always had it figured out. And if I ever did, I don't know if I would really trust them or believe them, right? Because nobody's been through everything, but we've all been through a lot of similar situations, but there's all different though. Y'all go through it differently. You all go through it uniquely, and you all recover from your setbacks differently, right? In Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. God did not put us here to think badly about ourselves. God did not put us here for us to fall to our flesh and fall to sin and just think that because we fail, we're nothing and this and that. God already spoke so much greatness into your life that 2025 is going to be such a blessing that he's going to release so many things into your life, abundance and welfare and prosperity and plans and purpose and blessing and comfort and just continuous work and effort and work and effort and failure. And you will sin and you will fail, but look at it as an opportunity to get excited and to say, God, thank you. Or just to say, life, thank you. Hey, now I learn. You live and you learn and you move on and you do things like that. But it's whenever you start to allow it to beat you down and you succumb into the darkness, it's whenever you start to forget about God's love and you start to think about your own heart and your own mind, your own desires. Whenever you start to do that, that's something that you might not be able to turn around from as easily. But if you know that God loves you, he doesn't want you to fail, then know that the failures are just opportunities for success. That's all it is, right? So don't beat yourself up on it. Don't regret it, right? If it's not on your own will, if it's not on your own control, right? That life happens to everybody, that things are going to happen for everybody because everyone's going through their own life, their own journey, their own purpose. So we have to overcome the fear and turn it into fuel. And when you fail, make that fuel to want to be successful and to figure out the next thing. That's it. In 2025, figure it out. Figure that out. Don't have life figured out, but figure out certain things like that. And how to overcome your failures and overcome your fears and turn it into fuel and know that God loves you. He doesn't want you to fail. So that means the only thing that comes to failing or falling short is success. I appreciate y'all, man. Hopefully y'all always feeling loved and blessed as always, bruh. Like, subscribe, comment on this, and man, I just want to say I appreciate all the support and everything like that, and just how, in 2025, this is major that we fall into Christ's arms, into God's arms, and not into our own. We have to focus and not see the bad and